"Empress," said Arduino, kneeling, "I wish to bring charges upon my daughter for assault, attempted matricide, and breach of contract." "Grandmother," Indara retorted softly, sheathing her knife and kneeling as well, "I wish to bring charges against my mother for the assault of my husband-to-be, threats, and unlawful alteration of a verbal contract." "Preposterous!" shouted Arduino. "I was merely removing an uninvited piece of trash from my party, and Indara—"
"Silence!" the Empress thundered, her eyes flashing. "The both of you! Seize those three! Contingent 2, take witness statements from the crowd, and try to get the party going again."
"Mother," said Kamalesh, stepping out of the surrounding crowd and bowing her head, "I witnessed the whole thing. May I join?"
"Only if you can keep a cooler head than these three," she said in an exasperated tone. "As for you, Sergeant, while I appreciate the son of hell act you've got going on, would you mind dropping the guns? We can deal with this like civilized women."
"Shit, sorry," replied Adam, dropping the magazine from the HSP-9 and tossing it to the side.
"Lovely. To the study,"
said the Empress, pointing both her fingers upward as a guard grabbed the arm of each belligerent, striding with a quick pace through the hallway of the massive building. Minutes later, they arrived in a dimly lit room with a fireplace and sconces on the walls. A large desk sat at the far end, a massive stained glass window behind it. The Empress sat in the large leather-padded chair behind it, kicking her feet up on the desk and groaning loudly that eventually turned into a sigh of frustration. Adam, Indara, and Arduino were sat in 3 chairs in front of the desk, a guard standing between each one of them, stock still and stone-faced.
"Kamalesh, give me your perspective on what happened tonight," the Empress said,
taking her feet off the desk and leaning forward with a sigh. "Short or long version?" she replied.
"Long version, from when the conversation started."
"But I have so—" Arduino started with a whine.
"Save it!" barked the Empress. "You'll have your turn to plead your case soon enough, but if you say one more word before I tell you to, I will have my guards gag you. I don't care that you're my daughter right now. I have an empire to run."
The cowed princess snapped her jaw shut with a snap, nodding quickly as she returned to her silence.
"Please, continue, Cammy," said the Empress tiredly.
"I couldn't hear the start of the conversation, unfortunately, but it looked tense from the bar. When it got loud, I heard them arguing about the agreement of my sergeant here." Kamalesh started again, gesturing at Adam.
"Getting him out of jail for killing those 2 oath-breakers?"
"Yep, that one."
"By the goddess, Indy, that was a foolish agreement to make. You knew he would have been released eventually."
"Would he? He's male, a human, and has a prior record of fighting against the Imperium," replied Indara, as the Empress sighed, and pushed her thumb and middle finger into her eyes.
"Fuck! Yeah, those Desari cunts can pull some fucking weight, can't they?" replied the Empress. "It seems like every day they have some obscure branch family causing trouble for my beautiful empire. Sorry for the interruption, Kamalesh. Please finish."
"Well, my sister disagreed with some implied stipulations about the marriage part of the contract. Specifically, that she implied that Indy intended to marry a Shelvanti noble-born boy of marriageable age."
"Okay, and who's she marrying
The Empress froze.
"Oh no."
"Oh yes," replied Kamalesh, as Arduino looked on smugly. "Anyway, Arduino ordered the guards to drag this gutter trash where he belongs, and Adam stood up to protest, and she backhanded him before her guards picked him up by the shoulders. I don't remember her exact words, but it was along the lines of, 'If you act up again, I'll hit you like a woman. Men don't deserve a close fist until they act up enough.'"
"Oh, for the love of—" the Empress muttered.
So then Adam muttered something I couldn't hear, and spat on her. She told her guards to hold him still and lined up a punch. Indara stepped in and threw her a few feet, drew her knife, and told her, "Touch him again and you'll regret it." Adam, being a death's head of undoubtable skill, started Kamalesh. The Empress chuckled.
"A bit biased, aren't we, Cammy?"
"Have you read the reports? I'm understating things," Kamalesh replied with a smirk.
"Fine," the Empress groaned, massaging her temples. "Continue."
"Adam kicked the knee of the guard holding him, as the other drew on his wife-to-be," Kamalesh continued, before Arduino cut her off again.
"She is not his wife-to-be!" shouted Arduino angrily.
The Empress looked to the guard next to her, who ripped a strip of fabric off of Arduina's sleeve and tied it around her mouth with an expressionless face. Arduina shouted through the mask before the Empress locked her in a stare. "If you try to speak again before I command, I will have no choice but to remove you from this room and side with your daughter by default. Do not test my patience again, daughter."
"So, anyway," Kamalesh continued calmly, "Adam drew the weapon from the injured guard's holster and used it to demand the attention of the guard aiming at my niece. Then you walked in."
"Lovely. Thank you, dear, for being the only one with a calm head right now."
"Oh, goddess, no. I was moving through the crowd to fuck up the guard Adam was aiming at," replied Kamalesh with a chuckle.
"First good piece of action I've seen in years. Damn fucking straight I'm gonna join in. No chances for a good brawl at the Blackstone." "I swear, you get your genes from your father," cried the Empress with a deep sigh.
"Guilty as charged, mother," Kamalesh replied with a grin.
"Tricksha," the Empress said to the guard next to Adam. "Status and reports from the crowd?"
"Being taken as we speak," she said, sliding her finger on an omnipad. "Short version is, the majority of the reports coincide exactly with Princess Kamalesh's statement. So far, the only differences are obvious exaggerations in one regard or another, and those have been expunged from the record."
"Lovely, thank you," replied the Empress. "Now, Arduina, tell me explicitly how your daughter is in violation of the stated contract."
"She is abiding the terms of the contract in word only, but a gross violation to the spirit of the laying terms," replied Arduina, after the gag was removed from her mouth. "I wanted her to choose a nice Shulvanti noble boy to settle down with, and join the royal fold. She knew this when she agreed to find a husband in a year, or I could arrange one for her."
"But the stated terms of the agreement were, find a husband in less than a year, yes?" queried the Empress.
"They were, but—"
"No buts! I found all the charges you've laid tonight to be blatant falsehoods and gross exaggerations. As for you, granddaughter, I found your levied charges to be entirely factual, if minor for the offences laid upon you. With the power granted to me by the goddess Shamantal, and by right of my blood and birth, I find Princess Arduina Tazu guilty of assault of a citizen under the protection of royal power, threats, unlawful alteration of a stated verbal contract, and gross misrepresentation of facts in an imperial court," the Empress finished.
"What? This is—"
Arduina shot to her feet, only to be shoved into a kneeling position by the guards on either side of her. "This is my empire, and I must trim the weeds that grow amongst the marble. I sentence you to 1 year of house arrest, and a fine of 10 million credits to be paid to Adam from your personal coffers. Glaives, take her to the chambers for the night. Send the guest home and ensure she does as I have bid."
The guard snapped to attention and saluted, before grabbing the princess by her shoulders and dragging her, stuttering and blustering out of the room.
"I swear," muttered the Empress after the door shut behind Arduina, "that daughter of mine gets more sport every year that she's alive."
"Goddess, don't I know it," muttered Kamalesh, putting a decanter of bright orange liquid from a shelf behind the desk.
"You'd better be planning on sharing that with the family," the Empress said, grinning wryly at her daughter. "After all, we have an engagement to celebrate."
What?" Adam looked at each of the remaining royals in turn, blinking in confusion.
"Adam, I wish to extend my sincerest apologies for the actions of my daughter," the Empress said, extending a small rounded glass full of the orange liquid to him. "Out of all my children, she is by far the most obsessed with the idea of looking proper."
He took it, spending a moment to examine the ornate glasswork that sparkled with an opalescent sheen, before taking a sip. Fireworks erupted in his mouth as the sweet and vaguely strawberry-tasting liqueur frothed across his tongue. It fizzled and snapped like pop rocks when it contacted the walls of his mouth and tongue, each little pop adding an extra layer of sweet flavour. "Holy shit, this is fucking good. The hell is this?" he asked, smacking his lips loudly as he savoured the flavour. "Goddess's nectar, private imperial reserve," Kamalesh replied with a chuckle. "You've got a year's salary for a Marine sergeant in your glass right now, give or take." Adam's eyes nearly bulged out of his skull at the sheer cost of a single glass, let alone a bottle of the stuff. Definitely going to savour it, he thought, as he watched Kamalesh grin maliciously, and slam back the entirety of her glass in one gulp, eliciting a groan from the Empress, who shot her a judgmental glare. "What? What's the point of all this responsibility if I can't have a little fun from time to time?" she asked, with a shrug and a smile. "Adam, I haven't been properly introduced. I am Callista, Indora's grandmother," the Empress said, turning an apologetic smile his way. You've made quite a splash at every opportunity. Do you seek trouble, or does it just find you?
Well, Adam replied, taking another sip to the amazing drink. I used to go looking for it, but now I like to think it's just the nature of my job at this point.
I'm sure my granddaughter would agree with you, the matronly woman replied. Speaking of which, I've never seen her say anything above a murmur, especially as a child. She's always been the strong and silent type, and it seems you brought out a lovely new side to her.
Grandma! Exclaimed the up until now silent Classy from next to Adam, nursing her drink.
I'm sorry, Callista giggled, but it's true. I think the man who kills oathbreakers and fights small armies of my enemies for the sake of people he's never met is rubbing off on you. Speaking of small armies, we need to plan a royal wedding. I'm thinking the ceremony should happen in the ethereal dome of Thoria before you disappear off to the front lines again.
Grandmother!
Is he your fiancé or not?
Asked Callista, clearly searching for a pressure point in their relationship. Fuck it, go for broke, thought Adam. I am, and I have no idea what that is, but it sounds fucking cool, he replied for Indara when she looked at him with a pained expression, clearly begging him mentally to save her.
I want to hear her say it,
said Callista, holding a finger out to him and staring Indara in her steely gaze. Indara straightened her posture and breathed a deep breath. I would love a wedding in the dome, but I wish to keep it family and close friends only. Me, Adam, and my soon-to-be sister wives have final invite and denial privileges alone.
There's more?
Asked Callista with an open-mouthed grin. Sergeant Farilla Grenson, Sergeant Riley Tonhara, and Sergeant Saley Monfrez. As of right now, they are romantically involved with us, but no proposal of marriage has happened. Yet, that is.
Monfrez? The Nagru family that owns Monfrez Courier Services? Asked the Empress with a widening grin.
Yes, one of their daughters is our medic and girlfriend.
Oh, lovely. That tiny political tidbit will shut your mother up. Or at least I hope, Callista replied, raising her hands into the air.
Good fucking luck with that, chimed Kamalesh, now on her third glass of the fruity drink.
As for you, Adam, said the Empress, turning her gaze on him, out of all the men my granddaughter could have chosen, I think you're uniquely qualified to deal with the cutthroat nature of royal life, as evidenced by your display today, and, well, everything else.
I'm glad you approve.
Well, there is one thing, she asked,
her face dropping into seriousness once again.
You had a gun, me without armor, and all the opportunity for the suicidal plays your race is famous for. Why didn't you take the shot?
The woman was a clear political master, able to don the mask of Empress, switch to doting grandmother, and transfer back again without missing a beat. Besides the fact that I love your granddaughter, I figure there's plenty of humans out there working on it already. Why waste my time doing someone else's job? He replied with a shrug and a chuckle, trying to dodge the question. Callista looked on with an unimpressed stare.
Be serious, Sergeant. You may soon be my grandson, but right now you're an ex-insurgent, sitting in the room with three of the most powerful women in the Empire, who could have every opportunity to remove us with some idea of vengeance. Your team may trust you. They've spent months next to you and fought beside you, but you have not earned mine yet. So answer my question or face my judgment. I want to hear in your words how you rationalize flipping sides so easily, the Empress replied, gaze hardening as she spoke.
The truth? You invaded my world without cause, thinking you could break us easily. Your bombardments killed hundreds of thousands of civilians, in addition to military targets. My late wife was among them. I spent 4 years in the 75th Ranger Regiment, fighting in whatever shit-filled hole my government sent me to. I have no love lost for them, but my first interaction with the Shill, that was me holding the mangled corpse of my wife when an orbital bombardment destroyed my home. So yeah, I don't think I can ever forgive you, or your empire, Adam finished darkly. Then why didn't you take the golden opportunity? I know you're competent enough to hit a head at 10 yards with a pistol. Because even if I can't forgive, we can heal. I spent 3 years after the invasion wallowing in guilt, rage and pain, watching friends throw their lives away fighting your empire. Fuck, truth is, if you showed up, broadcasted a message of peace and sent teams of your women to every major city on Earth, I guarantee you'd have a significantly easier time integrating us. Point being? Asked the Empress with a raised brow. Point being that I've become a better person with the women in my life. I'm still in the same line of work, but if I can be the damn spearhead that helps bring the clashing of shill and human society to an end, I'm gonna do it. I've fallen in love with free Shovanti women who feel the same way I do. I want to let bygones be bygones, bury the hatchet with you, and maybe fix some of the problems I can see around me. And the only way I know how to do that is with a rifle in my hand.
Wise words. Thank you for accommodating me, Callista replied.
In the blink of an eye, the frigid intimidation of the Empress of a galactic empire had disappeared, replaced once again with the warm family matriarch.
I like him, said Kamalesh from behind her. Oh, I do too. I imagine my new grandson will work wonders in my employ, but that's a topic for another time. Now, we celebrate, said Callista,
raising her as of yet untouched glass skyward, reciprocated by Adam, Indara, and Kamalesh.